परम सत्कार योग गुरु खालसा साध संगत जी गज बज के फतेह बुलाओ। वाहे गुरु जी का खालसा, वाहे गुरु जी की फतेह. It's a real honor and a privilege to stand here and have a chance to share with you the Sikha, the teachings that Maharaj will bestow upon all of us. We are continuing on this journey together as this family. We're continuing on this journey together as friends as we learn not just Sikha. For education is something you'll learn. But as we undertake these teachings, we learn about who we really are inside. So this isn't just education that we can stack on the shelf next to your books, your textbooks, your biology, your chemistry, your physics, your maths. This Sikha doesn't live on a bookshelf. This Sikha will live in our actions, will live in our feelings. It will teach us to understand the way that we should look into this world. And so for that reason, this Vidya Vichari Ta Parupakari will help us to uplift others and at the same time our own experience. And as we undertake this journey, as we move forward, as we travel together, we should open up our hearts from a place of shukranna. For unlike other places in this world where you go to receive an education, it's about UCAS points. It's about obtaining a right through passing through an examination. You're here, we're here. Amandeep Singh, I stand before you because of the Daya of the Guru. And if someone shows his compassion and they hold up a door for us to walk through, we say thank you. The Guru has opened up the door today and brought us all here today. So as we begin this vichar, let's open up our chests. Let's breathe in deep, deep to the bottom part of our lungs. Take a deep breath. And as we recite the Guru Mantra just 3 times, or at least 3 times, I can't tell you for sure, see how we feel. As we recite the Guru's Mantra together as one, we do so from a place of Shukran. Nabi Yo Maharaj, thank you for bringing me here today. Everybody together. WhyGuru. 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 Feels nice. Sangat Ji, as we continue our journey on the Ardaas course, we go now to Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. Yak arz gurtam te pesto dar gos gun kartar hakka kabir kareem tu be eb parvadgar. Just a quick reminder, we're undertaking this journey of reflection upon the Guru from the perspective of our Ardaas. And when the Singhaniya put forward the proposal that we do this course, each time that we're approaching the Guru's Itihas, we're doing so from the perspective of the Ardaas. So bear this in mind as we make our own supplications as to why these particular points are being chosen. These are questions we should be asking ourselves. Are we incorporating this in our Ardaas? I like to keep it functional. We can come and learn, or we can come and grow. And the second will take place if we're taking functional education that we can apply. Hana? So Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, just a quick background with some of the key pointers. If we go forward. So Maharaj, they were the grandson of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, brought into this world through the house of Baba Gurditta Ji and Mata Nihal Kaur Ji. They are recognized as being perhaps one of the first propagators of veterinary medicine to provide medicinal care for animals. And they were a great carer. They were respected as a very great compassionate soul, perhaps even outside of the Sikh congregation, the Sangat, for they would give, there's many examples of how they would serve people, all and any, even royalty that would be besieged by their own families. We know from the example of the emperor, Aurangzeb, his son, Dara Shikoh, when he was poisoned by his brother Aurangzeb, that he would seek out actually the company of the Guru. They would fall into the sanctuary of the Guru. So Maharaj is known as very compassionate in their actions. They would serve people with no enmity, even people that thought they had no right to be received. So Dara Sikh was thinking, well, my father waged war on with Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji 4 times. Have I got any right to go and seek medicine from him? But when they would learn about Gurmukhi and the Nishan Sahib that we all walk past today or drove past today, the Nishan Sahib knows no discrimination, that if you're hungry, come into the house of the Guru will feed you. And if someone's wronging you, or if you're being persecuted in some way, the people of the house of the Guru, they carry Shastra. And they're obligated through their commitment to their Guru to fight for you. That sounds so wicked, isn't it? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. If I told you that the Nishan Sahib exists for real, this isn't something from Lord of the Rings. The Nishan Sahib flies out bearing down the weight of all of our Ardaasa, bearing down upon the weight of all of our Ardaasa and never once bending. You'll never see the Nishan Sahib bending under the weight of all of our requests to protect us. And so Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, we're going to just shock it up a little bit. We're going to go to perhaps an uncomfortable place now, because we're going to look at things in a way that we have not been conditioned. We've been educated in a certain way to suggest that what I'm going to say is not to be readily received. But just test yourself and stay with this material and just be open to the idea that maybe we need to relearn. I'm going to ask you a question. We go to this slide now, which is sort of midway. Just had a thought to play with this. And the question I've got for you, go back one. Should Sikhs be capable of dangerous acts? Should we be capable of committing dangerous, horrific, tremendous acts of violence? Put your hands up if you think that Sikhs should be able to do this. Put your hands down. Put your hands up if you think Sikhs should never should never be capable of committing dangerous acts or acts of violence. Put your hands up if you think Sikhs should never commit acts of violence. Guys, get in the game. We've got 90% non-participation here. Come on. Yeah, if we're not going to be comfortable to have a little play with our own understanding in the Sangat, where do we reserve the right to be comfortable to challenge ourselves? So I'll ask you again, one way or the other. Put your hands up genuinely, and there's no wrong answer. We're here to grow. And if you participate in growth, you're never really losing, right? Because we're still growing either way, right? Put your hands up if you think that in Sikh Dharma, there is never a place for Sikhs to be capable of acts of violence or dangerous, horrific acts of violence. Put your hands up if you think there's never a place for that. No elbows. Either you're in with that idea that we should not do that we should be pacifists, that we should never commit acts of violence or be capable of it. Put your hands up if you think that Sikhs should be capable of committing acts of violence. I think my voice and my tone is sort of betraying me here. Everyone's like, I don't know the answer, but he seems more invested in that one. So everyone's like, yeah, I see where we're going with this. So here's a quote. You can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you are capable of great violence. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're just harmless. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're just harmless. I'm ratcheting up slowly. I'm going to change the word harmless to pathetic. I'm going to read it again. Yeah. If I did that first, you'd be like, what's this guy? I'm ratcheting. I'm going to let you know we're in the Sangat of the Guru, so there's no tricks here, right? So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. We're going to just lower ourselves slowly into the water to see. I'm going to try and find where the meter is about where we are getting this right or wrong. Because we're all learning. I'm learning too, right? So depending on the Sangat's seesaw, where they go with this, you are the bestowers of grace as well. So maybe you'll tell us that this is wrong. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're just pathetic. And I would put forward to you from the course that I have done, the research that I have done, that this is the Sikhya that Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj gives us. We're going to jump forward to the middle of their Jivan. When they received the Gurgaddi, Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj is instructed by Miri Piri the Malak, Sache Parchar, Sahib Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. They're instructed by the Guru, but you will forever keep with you 2,200 soldiers armed who ride horses. You will have with you such a firm that you will surely, therefore, be able to commit serious acts of violence. You have 2,200 soldiers with you at all times. Those aren't there to provide the cutlery on the langar hall. Yeah? Those soldiers are there ready. 2200 ਘੋੜ ਸਵਾਰ Ghoraswar specifically, the ability to move across great distances. Ghoraswar, because you can crush down upon an enemy. Ghoraswar in a riot is the police that are on the horses that can trample down upon the enemy. Ghoraswar is an act of Shakti, of power. Downstairs just now we were talking about and celebrating the feminine Shakti. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Yeah. Maharaj is saying the instruction to you is you should be ever ready to create or defend or undertake severe acts of violence. And the word that we need to focus on, and I said it both times, but perhaps you didn't see the particular word, is the capability, the propensity, the ability, the Shakti, the power, right? And so Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj is perhaps the greatest military instructor of the Sikhs. They give us the greatest military Sikhya, for they never engaged in war, but they forever had 2,200 soldiers with them at all times. Here is where we go a bit deeper down the rabbit hole. Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji told Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, you're never going to engage in a battle. How does that work? Maharaj told Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, you're never going to engage in a battle. Let's have a little think here. This is Guru Maharaj. They could write destinies. They could destroy destinies. They can give children to those that would be barren in their house, from their own house. So many examples. They are the giver of all gifts. They are the vanquisher of armies. Dal Panjan, the destroyer of armies. Dal Panjan, Guru Surma, Varjoda, Bahu, Parupakari. They're the uplifter of all those. Guru Maharaj in their 10th form would write a letter when the time was right to destroy the Mughal Empire. Everything is within their hand. Bal hoa bandan shute, sab kich hote upai, nanak sab kich tumre haath mein. So this is the giver of all Shakti. They're saying to Maharaj, they're saying to their grandson, you're never going to enter battle. If I told you that at the beginning, how deep down this rabbit hole are we going to go? Why is Maharaj saying this to us? Had Ardaas Swami come to me. And he says to me, there's no need to keep Shastra now, we're in times of peace. I said, that's not what Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji said to Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. They kept 2,200 spears, 2,200 talwar, 2,200 kirpan, 2,200 horsemen with them at all times. And they were told, we don't even know our future because I'm not at that place where I can read my Avastha. But Maharaj is giving this instruction because the teaching is that if you truly want to be a peaceful person, if you truly want to be a peaceful person, if your Ardaas is for Shukh Shanti, you should train for war. You should be ready and have the capability to wage war. I'm not a violent person. I'm a very loving person. I like to think of myself as. Yeah? Perhaps that's probably a bit too generous, actually. Yeah. If you ask my missus, I'm just always doing a night in. But I think that the Sikhi that Maharaj is giving us is that if we look at our history as a human species, it's always those people that have been the subject of severe violence, who had no ability to stand up, who had no capability or potential, because there'll always be someone that will come. And it's always been the Guru Khalsa that has been requested to stand for other people's battles, because we've always been seen as those who have the capability to commit utter acts of war, though we've never in our history done that for ourselves. Winston Churchill will famously go on to Parliament after one mad would seek to kill all the Jews in this world, succeeding in killing about 7 million, 6 to 7 million. He would go on in Parliament to say, we are forever to be indebted to the Sikhs. Sikhs made up 1% of the Indian population. They made up 45% of the Allied force, contributing towards the war effort to try and destroy that modern-day Aurangzeb. From that 1% emanated 45% because it's in our nature to always be ready. Winston Churchill would go on and say, we are forever indebted to those. Twice we have called upon them, twice they have answered the call. As 80,000 Sikhs who were battle ready saw that this was our duty, right? So Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj is talking to us. And now when we go back to this, it's really interesting. What I want you to do is, I'm going to read this again. But what we've done is, what I want to do is, when I read this again, you'll notice that it doesn't shock your system. You'll see how quickly you can be desensitized to what you thought was so absurd and far from who you can be. When I read this again, you'll realize, actually, it's quite sensible, and it doesn't shock you. And the reason we're doing that, going back to functional understanding, is you look in the mirror, you go, yeah, not quite for me. When you roll on the, maybe, if we take it functionally, you go and roll on the mats. You go and find yourself a Krav Maga class. You go to the Gatka Kara. You go to Shastra Vidya, whatever it is. I'm tired about the arguments of where we should go. We're so busy arguing about where we should go, no one's going anywhere. We're sitting at home arguing on computers about where and who and when. If everybody just got on the mats, we'd all be far, far ahead. My brother Jagraj would talk about it in this way. So I'll read it again and just look inside yourself and see how this doesn't hit you as uncomfortably as it first did. And what I'm trying to do by asking you to do that and really wrestle with this and see how it feels, is you'll realize that you're not who you think you are. And you're not stuck with who you think you are. The point of this course is to change. That if you should come here and leave the same, then what of it? We have to have a conscious understanding. We're not here, and I started this vichar with my brothers and sisters to say, when we come to the house of the Guru, we don't get ordinary education. We're here to find out who we are. And in so doing that, we change. Aakho Satnam Sri. By Paramjit Singh Ji from the Guru Granth Sahib Ji Academy, an elder who I have so much reverence for, if you have a chance, check out their Katha on SoundCloud. Massively missed, like a diamond in the rough. They would say, Amaddeep Singh, understand that Gurbani is alive. So when we engage with Gurbani, just like our human interactions with people change us, when we engage, we should look to be changed by those influences. You've only got to go Leeds for a couple of weeks and you come back with an accent, right? You go to Birmingham a couple of weeks, you're all right, mate. It's horrible what happens, you know? So let's be straight, yeah? We're here to engage with the Guru's Bani, the Guru's Itihas, that we be changed. When I say the Bhakti, you can join in, but know it to be true. Yeah, that thapara is there. Before we came up here, I said to my brother, give me a slap on the back, give me a thapara. We're in the Sangat of the Guru. We can make miracles happen just by being in the company of those that bestow miracles. Who are those that give the miracles? The dust of the Sangat, the company of the Guru. So when I say it now, really look inside and see how you feel about that which seems so foreign and alien, okay? You can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you are capable of great violence. If you're not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're pathetic. Put your hands up genuinely and don't give me any freebies here because we're here to learn, right? So don't do me any favors. Genuinely, if you found yourself more comfortable with accepting that statement as true than the first time around when I asked you to put your hands up. Put your hands up. All the way up. Even if you agreed with it the first time round, you sort of like agreed with it subtly, but now you're like fully on board. So what this is telling us is that you're not bound by your limitations. When Maharaj says, Manne marg thak na pai, that if you believe on your marg, tak meaning obstacle, rakavat, yeah? Any obstacle on your path to achieving what you think is for other people, those people that are really fit, those people that are really flexible, those people that are really powerful, you think, it's for those guys. It's just a state of mind. And when we undertake this Ardaasa, or we come into the Sangat, just a little bit of vichar in the Sangat, you can take the support, that Ord Asara, and you can change. So once more, whose attitude towards violence and an understanding of the ability to commit violence doesn't make you a terrorist, doesn't make you a bad person? Put your hands up if you think that your understanding and your acceptance of it being closer to your heart has changed just since we've done this vichar. See, that's really interesting because a lot of people that put their hands up were already in agreement with the statement. So that shows us we can still learn if we think we know, right? So Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj is given this instruction, and they would keep 2,200 soldiers with them at all times. My benti then is this, Sad Sangat Ji. I like to keep things optimistic, but we don't know where the world is going. Surely, we've only got to look to our neighbours in France, where there's debates about banning the dastard. I think they even went through, but they're not being fully... it's not being fully enforced. Like, it's now illegal, but it's like recording off the radio. The law's been passed, but people are still walking around with the star, I think. People are still getting a hard time going on Eurostar. We don't know where we're going to go with our value system. We're not here to be accepted. We're here to just be. And then we're trying to understanding of who we are, right? We have to understand that if we don't take our rights to train, if we don't take our rights to bear swords and stand up and have that kirpan and have the ability to bestow kirpa upon others, it will be taken away from us. The way that establishment works is that they test the water and they see how public reaction is to that thing, and then they respond accordingly. Only a few decades ago, they decided to tax people at 98%, and there were riots in the streets that we can't do that. Okay, we'll step back. We can't take everything from everybody. That's too far. We'll stick at 40%. It's on us, it's incumbent upon us to become the full extent of what our Guru has created as our capability. If we don't excel to that and don't fulfill that, it will get chipped away at us. I remember going to the States, and they've got a statue of, ironically, a statue of liberty, a statue of freedoms. And I went there, see what's going on here. And they said, you can't go there because you've got Kirtan on. I said, well, where's the freedoms here of the place where you have so much freedoms apparently? And you're not going to let me wear my Kirtan, which is the bestower of freedom, upon this place. And they said something that was really painful to hear. They said, the reason we don't let you on is because we know you can take it off. I said, this is the limb of my Guru. It's been bestowed upon me by my Guru. I can't take this off. He goes, it's funny that all of those guys that wear a turban, all those girls that wear turbans that come before you, they're quite happy to take it off and put it in the box. So we know that your value system is such that you can take it off. They used my own against me. Where do I go with that? I can argue with you. Who's got a uniform on and a scanner. I can tell you who I am. But how do I argue with my ancestors who're walking just ahead of me? We have to understand that rather than blaming that, we can look to say that in a few weeks' time, someone's going to follow me, right? I come back home and I go to court. I'm not going to court as a defendant. I'm going to represent a client in court. I go to court and just good timing. I don't know if you, were you here at the beginning? Just so you walk in, Jazz. Lovely to see you, bruv. And I go to court as a solicitor, and the security guard stops me. He says, you're not allowed into the court with that weapon on your waist. This is a true story. It's actually in the Guru's Darbar. Not that we should lie outside the Guru's Darbar, but this is exactly as it went down. As a Guru is my witness. We started arguing with him. People started stopping us because he's got that confidence from what he's hearing other people take their Kirbans off, put them in the box and stuff. He says, listen, I'm a solicitor, section 139. This right has been protected going back 5-6 decades. Second World War, my grandparents came here. They bought their Kirbans, they fought for Britain. They brought that sword when it was requested. Now it's conveniently been forgotten. But this is who I am then. This is who I am now. I'm telling you, I'm going to go into court, and this is where I'm going to do. Criminals were being allowed in. The criminals were looking me up and down. They were like, who's this guy? I was like, you're treating me worse than the criminals that are being brought into the dock. But so I'm very grateful to share this with you. And I don't speak from pride in saying this with you. I'm grateful to share this with you because it's not my Kirtan. This is the Kirtan of the Guru. So the Guru always looks to it to obtain his honor. After about 15, 20 minutes of arguing and pushing with this security guard, I said, listen, I'm going upstairs. I'm going to go past you. And that's the way it's going to be. And you can stop me with this conversation, or you can move out the way. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to walk past you. If you don't move out the way, I'm going to walk into you. That's what's going to happen. Because in my Guru's Kirtan, my client's waiting upstairs, and that's what's going to happen. And I started to walk and he just moved out the way. And that was by the blessings of the Guru, right? But the point is this. Those rights are being eroded. There's a dependency upon apathy in Kaljug. Kaljug's strength isn't coming toe-to-toe at you with the gnarly teeth. Kaljug's strength is apathy, that we just are apathetic towards our gifts. Yeah, you don't walk past 2, 3, 5 kg of fat and just put it in your mouth. Getting unhealthy, losing your rights, it slowly happens, and you look at the scale and it's just apathetic ways every single day, and you find yourself losing that battle. It's the same with our rights. And so what Maharaj did, foreseeing this, seeing the strength of this apathetic way and what it can do to our nature, what did Maharaj do? He said, listen, I'm going to have it that my Gur Sikhs wear one Kirtan. I'm going to set the example 2,200 times. B. Guru Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, you will go on to wear 2,200 swords upon your shoulders. You will go on to carry you will carry the weight of serving langar to 2,200 soldiers with you. And I'm even going to tell the Sangat and yourself you're never going to need it. Because my children's children will need it, may need it, shall need it. And they should understand that if the Guru Rai Sahib Ji will walk around with 2,200 soldiers, that itihas will mean that one day, those that don't wear Kirbans, because Radha Swami say to us, you can say Guru Rai Sahib Ji would wear those swords when there was no need. Because by the Guru's bakshish, there was protection already reserved for the Khalsa at that time. So Sadh Sangat Ji, this gift of a Shastra that we wear, let it become our Ardaas. Don't think for a second that if we don't protect our rights, that the Guru who gives us his gift so freely will not say, well, if you're not worthy of it, then you're not worthy of it. Don't think for a second that the establishment will look to erode those rights if there's a gap there. We have people within our own who will tell us that we haven't got where Shastra. Under the guise of another, like Radha Swami's, people like this are telling us, take your Shastra off, cut your case. We have to become the benefactors, the protectors of our little sisters. And so I thought that was such a powerful Sikhya. We should also be a weapon. When I say be a weapon, it's a wonderful phrase. You've heard it so many times, but hear it for the first time. Arm yourself with knowledge. He was so far ahead. Yeah, he said it, and you read it, and you thought you knew it. We're saying it again for new ears. Arm yourself, become a weapon of your own itihas. Arm yourself, Gyan Karag, the weapon of knowledge. Have it the case that we have 2,200 Panktiyā memorized within our hearts and our minds, that in darker times still, those are the Shastra that we wield. That when anxiety comes for you, you've got 2,200 horsemen in your heart. Did you ever know that Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj would be the one that instills that martial spirit in us? We think of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, we think of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. Did we know that Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was the greatest warrior, strategist that we've never thought to look upon this way? Guru Pyari Sadh Sangat Ji, we have to have a real look about, as mothers on Mother's Day, we're speaking about the feminine energy, Bhagoti, the sword and the feminine form that we reflect upon. We have to look at this and understand that if we haven't got the strength to do this for ourselves, we've got younger sisters, we've got younger children that we're going to be raising into this world. They will look to your hips to see what rides upon the side of your hip. And if the Shastra is not there and it's just a Gucci handbag, don't get me wrong, have a Gucci handbag, have the most wonderful handbags. But let's have Shastra behind those handbags. Yeah? Well, I'm not saying we can't live in this world. Yeah? What I'm saying is that we should be able to defend the honor of our children, of our family members, of our elders, of the Shabad that resides within us beyond this world. And just for those that are spiritualists, all of this vichar is not coming from an act of terror. All of this vichar is coming from an act of a peaceful man. You want to be peaceful people? Have the ability to stand up and wage war. I'll tell you something very funny. When I was at university, I was coming into Sikhi, I was a Monna then. I used to have a little quiff, like shockwaves in my hair, number 2 strength, yeah. Little number 2 blended into my back and sides, yeah. Little lines and stuff like that. It was a state, yeah. And me and my mate, he's a Hare Krishna, a very close friend of mine, lovely guy. We were coming into our dharam together. And so we were sharing education, we were talking. I just met Jagraj at this time, and he was talking to me about Sikhi. And my friend, he was coming, he was doing his job, and he used to have a mala. He said, I've got a mala too. We got that in Sikhi. We having a really fun time finding out about who we really were as children, right? And he comes to me, his face is ashen. So at that time, we were just learning about Vidya. We just started our martial arts journey. I'd been about 2 or 3 years sort of striking, training and stuff like that. And he came to me ashen, and he said to me, he said, I go, what happened? He goes, I was walking through the shopping center, and he said, two black guys followed me. That was his words. So not being racist, I'm just quoting what he said. He said, 2 black guys were following me. I think they were going to mug me. I go, what did you do? He goes, I just walked into the shop and pretended I was buying something. I kept looking over my shoulder. They got bored, and they left. And I started laughing at him. He's my friend. I was just joking. I wasn't really giving him a hard time. I was just a bit banter. I was like, come on, you loser. Sort yourself out. He goes, all right, what would you have done? I'm not a peaceful man. I said, I'd have walked into a shop, I pretended I was buying something, and I'd have waited for them to leave. He goes, hang about, you were laughing at me for saying the exact same thing. I said, there's a difference. If there weren't any shops, I've got a Shastra from my Guru. If there wasn't any place, I had the ability to turn around and deal violence in that situation, to stand up for myself. I would choose that. You don't have a choice. But you're a sheep. Your Guru hasn't given you Shastra. I would choose that because I'm a peaceful man. But perchance, just as only a few years ago, that a mob would attack the sanctity of the Nishan Sahib on the streets of Southall on Vaisakhi, waving them around, drinking alcohol. Perchance people try and disrespect the Guru, like they did a few years ago when they were taking him to party halls in the UK. Ridiculous what was going on. Perchance, Byadabi was happening in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj by people who were trying to do interfaith marriages and all sorts of nonsense. Yeah? The Guru Khalsa carried Shastras then, and they carry them still. And they were able to use those Shastras as peaceful men, as doctors, pharmacists, lawyers, family men. Yeah? But when the opportunity was required of them, they were able to deal Shastra. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, even as peaceful people, is do we want to retain the opportunity to bring peace? And say, don't. I've got a Shastra on my hip, don't. It's not going to work out good for you. Keep it peaceful. Shastra demands peace. The absence of Shastra is when a man doesn't value peace. And so we go back to the Sikhiya. If you're not capable of violence, as Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was, so definitely so, though they were the creators of veterinary medicine, and they're known famously for giving medicine to people and having a large pharmacy. All they would do during the days is give medicine, but yeah, they are that one. And so Sadh Sangat Ji, this tikyas needs to go into our hearts. Let's start training people, man. And that doesn't mean you've got to do something way out your comfort zone. Just challenge yourself. Let's start going to Beast. Let's start going to BJJ. Let's start going to wherever we want to go. Let's start doing some squats in the morning. Be just slightly better than you were yesterday. You'll know the value of progress and you'll feel like iron. And Maharaj says, Sarab loho jidi sada rachya hamane. You become iron, not through becoming a piece of metal, but making progress. And then you'll feel like, actually, you know what? There's some blood in me still. There's something coursing through my veins still. So let's look at what we're doing. Amandeep Singh, and I'm speaking just to myself here because I think it's only right that I do so, but come along with me for the journey. Let's have a little think about what we've got to do tomorrow, make a little bit of progress. Put your hands up if we're going to make a little bit of progress in a martial aspect, be it fitness or be it vidya, as from this week. Legit, we're in the Guru's Darbar. Hands up, no elbows. Unless we're going to be doing Thai elbows. Hands up. Let's have a little look. You're not telling me, you're telling yourself. So this is functional education, Sadh Sangat Ji. Thank you, Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. There's one more sakhi I want to share with you. We go back to when Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was just a beautiful grandchild in the house of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. And Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, they're going through the gardens of a beautiful garden. All the beautiful colors of the roses, the tulips and the lilacs. And if you go to India, the gardens are so colorful. They're so beautiful because that dharti has been touched by the feet of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They've got the minerals of the feet of the Guru in there. It just bleeds a different color when you go to those beautiful gardens, those botanical gardens. And Maharaj is going through, and they actually commend the gardener, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji this is now, and that's Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. And they commend the garden. They go, you've made such a beautiful garden. Look at that rose. Look how beautiful it is. And so Maharaj, then, they leave the garden and Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji is playing in the garden. How blessed are those plants to have had the feet of Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji stand upon the grass. When Maharaj comes back, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, one beautiful plant, I think, but don't quote me on this, I think it was a rose. It's been, all the petals have fallen off. They're now they're on the side now. And Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj is standing there over the petals and they're just completely consumed by compassion. What happened was Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was very tall. Their chola was very long. They'd walk past in such a playful, carefree, Veparavaho way that chola had caught that plant and it deflowered that plant. All the petals had fallen off. So Maharaj is looking at that, and you can see my clip art here, you know, top level presentations here. So Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, they give the Sikha, they say to Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, listen, if you're going to wear that chola, if you're going to go on to become that one which you will go on to be, that we now reflect upon in history, but you've got to hold that chola tight to your body. But don't let it be the case that your actions cause pain to, don't let it be the case that you walk past a flower and you knock that flower by accident. Accident though it may be, you're still responsible. If you wear a chola, if you don that upon your body, that you're still responsible for the consequence of that chola being upon your body. But what Sikha is this? For me, Sadh Sangat Ji, as we go through the garden of this world, how many hearts are we breaking with our harsh words? If we go to the next slide, the Pankti, Maharaj says, Ek fikka na galai, sabana me sacha tani. Hyav na kehi thai, manaka sab amolave. Maharaj says, don't even speak one harsh word. This is the beauty of Sikhi. You're never going to be able to match this anywhere in the world. Look at this dichotomy. Look at this. juxtaposition between Maharaj having 2,200 soldiers on one side. Can you imagine the ground trembling as Maharaj goes to give darshan and blessings to people with 2,200 soldiers behind them? Armor, sarab loho jidi sada rachya hamne. Be the form of iron. Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was the personification of that, right? And when they would get off that horse and they would receive the Sangat, what bhajan vichar would they do? What teachings would they share? Don't even speak one fikka word. Recognize that the hearts of your brothers and sisters, your words are so powerful that you wouldn't want to break someone's heart. For that heart is such a beautiful, delicate thing. Where in the world is anything that you could even say remotely resembles, not even partly, even remotely resembles Gursikhi? And they say that the Gursikh Dharam is born out of other dharams. Where? Why? How could you say such something that is so false? Where can you see anything that is on a level, or anything that could claim to be a father or a mother to that which is directly from Nirankar? How many times have we heard Sikhis come from Islam? They want to claim it because it's so beautiful. Anything that wants to be claimed, we take it as an insult. Really, it's a compliment. Everyone wants to lay ownership, right? They say Hinduism is just really the mother of Sikhi. Really? Well, thank you for your wish to be a part. Sadh Sangat Ji, there is nothing that will stand on the level. Maharaj is saying to us, Amandeep Singh, just because you've got a little bit of knowledge does not give you license to talk down to people. Just because, all right, okay, I've given you a little bit of Sikhya. Don't think for a second because you've had a drop of water, you know the limits of this ocean. Be Amandeep Singh, have a little control, a little cautionary caution, but you look upon the Sangat, have a little bit of thought about the way you speak to the Sangat. Sadh Sangat Ji, have a little thought inside. How many times have we used the words, I'm right, as a danda to beat each other? We have a bit of dar, man. Yeah, don't be afraid of wearing a gurban. Don't be afraid of standing up to a man telling you to take off your shastar. Yeah, don't be afraid of two people that might follow you around a shopping center. Have a little bit of dar for the Sangat. If you're going to have dar, have dar for those that the Guru backs. When we come into the Guru's Darbar, Maharaj, it's not on the slides, but when Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was going to leave this world in the physical sense, the Sangat were standing around Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, and they say, Maharaj, give us one last Sundar Bachan. It's not on the slides, it's in my mind from the chords that we did previously. And Maharaj says, you want to give you one last bachan? If you're ever so lucky to be in the Sangat, if you're ever so lucky to be in the Sangat of the Guru, apane sir nime rakho. Put your head low. It's in basically just direct yourself. You're nothing, you're no one. Just put your head low and just be like, yo, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I managed to get in the door. I didn't even get a ticket, But I'm just lucky to be here. And that's Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj leaving the world. What teaching could they give? What teaching should they give? The teaching that they gave is the teaching they should give. The teaching is this. Be Amandeep Singh, if you're lucky enough to stand in front of the Sangat, recognize that you're not there through any entitlement, you're there by the daya of the Guru. And so if you reflect inwardly on your own journey, be ikka fikka na galai. Sabana me sacha tani, hiyaw na ke hitai, manaka, sab amolave. Let's have a little think, man. Just because we're right, and I use the word right, I put the word right in inverted commas, is not a license to smash people, man. What we need right now, and this is just my opinion, so if I'm wrong, I ask for your forgiveness. What we really need right now, from what I am seeing and the troubles I'm hearing of, we need a little bit of forgiveness and a little bit of support. Yeah, when was the last time, and I'll invite you to put your hands up and tell me that I'm wrong, when was the last time you either did or received what I'm about to say? When was the last time you said to someone, look, I know you've messed up. I know you've made a mistake. Yeah? I know you're a plonker, but you know what? I'm with you. I'm with you. Forget you've made a mistake. I'm still with you. You're my little brother. You're my little sister. I'm with you. What we have said is many times, you're wrong. You've made a mistake, and we stop there. Yeah? What we should be doing if we're trying to have Dalpan's mentality is say, look, a mistake is just a mistake. It ain't a death sentence. You're not defined by that. You've made a mistake. You're a plonker. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm still with you. That is the attitude of a warrior, not consumed by insecurity of having to be right. Because if it's about right and wrong, yeah, we're all going to go with a whole bunch of barb to be answered for. This is not the path of right and wrong. If it was about right and wrong, I've got no right to stand in front of you. I've committed more barb than any of you here. Jeta sumundar sagar neer pariya tete augan hamare daya karo kish meher upavo dubde patthar tare. We ain't got the technology for that, have we? Bruv, come on, man. Basics, man. It's supposed to be cutting edge. I'm joking, bruv, sorry. Maharaj says, Jeta samundar sagar neer pariya. As much as there is water in an ocean, imagine if that was an ocean of barb. Jeta samundar sagar neer pariya tete augan hamare. As much as an ocean is, that's how much barb I have within me. Daya karo, but just have daya upon me. Don't look upon that. Yeah, Maharaj is saying this himself. Daya karo, kish mehero pavo, dubde patthar tare. I'm like a stone just sinking in the ocean. My point I'm trying to say is this. Being a warrior doesn't give you the right to smash. It should give you the shakti to be a peaceful person and bring sitalta, bring peace into someone's life. Being a warrior on a young stage, you just want to go around and be a policeman and go start, yeah, smash, smash, smash. Being a warrior really allows you to look and go, look, you ain't got the steadiness to do the right thing right now. I'm going to put my hand on your shoulder as your older brother and say, look, I'm with you. You made a mistake, I'm with you, we make it together. When we're at meetings, when I'm speaking to my younger brothers and they've made a mistake, I say, look, you've not made a mistake, we've made a mistake. We'll fix it together. And that takes away all of the animosity of what that is. We're so far from that when we say that, all it invokes is paranoia. They go, what are you talking about? Or we're so far from that understanding. But you guys are going to bring it back. Because you're going to become warriors today, and tomorrow you're going to become comfortable with being warriors. And then the third day, you're going to become the support of those. Because of your support, they won't have to be warriors. Sadh Sangat Ji, this chola that we wear, this kara that we wear, this case that we keep, this nitnem that we hold in our hearts, it's there, but we should be very, very careful with it as a gift. It's been bestowed upon us. And Jagraj was saying, had such a way, his words are still a mantra for me today, because we shouldn't have man for these things. Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj never had man with 2,200 soldiers. They were known as the greatest medicinal carer of people. They would teach us to have gratitude. We didn't make this gift. Let's not walk around with our chests out that we've got a license to educate. I'm still learning. Yeah? Let's open up our hearts from the Sikhi of Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. Be iron. Be able to have the propensity to smash so hard that nobody wants to smash with you. Yeah? Have the ability to stand up and say, not for you. Just don't, it's not worth it, man. Step back. It's not for you. And you'll never have to. But at the same time, never use those weapons in the house of the Guru. We should be turning to our younger brothers and sisters and saying, you haven't got steadfastness. You're not true. You're not atal within yourself right now. I'm with you. So I'm going to say it one more time because I'd love to hear this, man. I'd love to hear someone come up to me and say, you know what? Somebody came up to me. I was in a bad place. I thought I was going to get written off. But they put their hand on my shoulder. How sad is this? I've not yet had anybody come up to me and say, you know what you spoke about, Amardeep Singh? Because I spoke about this 3 or 4 times now. I've not had anybody come up to me and say, you know what, actually I made a mistake. And this is what happened. My sister came up to me and she was a support for me. I'm not saying it's not happened. I'm just telling you I've not heard about it. Let it be the case as you leave today that one person you know that's suffering because of his public or her public embarrassment, because of a mistake that they've made, let you be the person that takes 2,200 soldiers to their house and say, listen, I'm with you. Just the idea of it lights you up. You're smiling. Some of you are smiling. Imagine if you participated in that life for someone and you took the Shakti of Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji's Sikhiya and we went there. So if we go to the second from last slide. So here, so see what I did here? I brought the 2 Sakya together. You got the gun, weapon, and you got the petals. See what? No? You're very unforgiving, man. That was very hard to find. No, you don't? Petals, flowers, and... So what Sikya can we take from this? Bringing it into Ardaas, because that was the background for what we're going to do right now, which is to see how we can apply this. So far, we've looked at Ardaas as a benti, right? Be Maharaj, I fall at your feet. Satguru Ayo Sarana Tuhari. Satguru Ayo Sarana Tuhari. Avarna, Hanji? Mile Sukh Naam Har Soba Chinta lahi hamari avar na sujje duje tha aur har paryoto dwari. Maharaj is saying the way that we do Ardaas is we fall that the Gurus have got no Shakti. But there's another side to this. Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, they were imbued with the love of the Guru. They fell at the feet of the Guru, right? But they also took action. They did, from that day forth, hold their chola tight. When you see photos of Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, their chola, they're holding it like this. Meaning from that day forth, they said, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility. Yeah? So they didn't just say, Maharaj, I'm going to walk around with my chola and fling it here this way and that way and break hearts with my harsh words, in my understanding of that understanding, right? They didn't walk around saying, I'm going to hurt people's hearts and Maharaj, I'm going to do Ardaas to you. They didn't say, you're going to protect me, I don't need weapons. They formalized the Ardaas through their action. They took the action. And we need to understand, Sadh Sangat Ji, if you look at the Khalsa Panth in history, we did do Ardaas. We still do Ardaas. Every day that Ardaas is undertaken if you're blessed by the Guru. But we're also obligated to make moves, to take steps, to become iron. I'm going to say that again. We do Ardaas every single day. And we should do Ardaas every single day. Part of that Ardaas, if it's sincerely undertaken, is also an ingredient of an obligation to take steps, to make moves, to become iron. And I think the one that does those steps, their udam, yeah, even if they can't swim, their udam as they're drowning in that ocean, dubde pathartare, as they're trying to swim, but they believe. It's that one in my heart that the Guru will say, your Ardaas is fulfilled. So Sadh Sangat Ji is really important. We're here for the Ardaas course, not to undermine or in any way misrepresent or to what the previous Sikhya is. Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji is the form of a supplication. They received the Gur Gaddi because their whole Jivan was an Ardaas, a sacrifice to Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, right? But in their Jivan, they also took steps. Sadh Sangat Ji, we go back to keeping it functional as we finish up this vichar. Be who's going to take a step today? So we close our eyes. How long have I got left, bruv? Yeah? You give me 10 minutes, bruv. You're kind, bruv. So we need to keep Sukhdeep out of here. He's like, I'm only 1:15. So if we just close our eyes for a second, let's have a little bit of courage to look inside. Let's have a little thought about some of the assumptions we've made about who we can be and who we think we are, and the gap between the two. I'm going to say that again. Let's have a little think about who we thought we were, the assumptions we thought we were. For example, our thoughts towards being able to commit acts of martial defense. Let's have a little thought about how we thought that and how far we've come from that as we realize that the form of Sitalta, the form of that one that would constantly bring about a soothing embrace to the Sangat, that one who started the practice of veterinarianism, the creator of a pharmacy and a hospital, that they would carry weapons with them in a number of 2,200 soldiers. Let's have a little think about this and realize that the assumptions we made were just wrong. That there within me is a Shakti, within me is Bhagoti, within me is also iron. Let's have a little think now about how we're going to feel in 6 months' time. Imagine every day, from this day till 180 days. You've been doing a little bit of progress. Imagine you're holding a talwar now for the 180th day, a lathi, in whichever gatka khara you're going to frequent. Imagine after 180 days now, you've been undertaking those low kicks at Beast Academy on the bag, or wherever it is you're going. Imagine 188 days from now, you've learned so many combinations of punching and kicking. Your genes don't fit you now, because with that comes fitness and health and vitality and Shakti and progress. Imagine how you're going to feel good. Just put a small smile on your face. Picture yourself 180 days from now. You're fitter, you're stronger, and with that self-respect comes the ability to learn more Bani. Because when you respect yourself, you have higher expectations of yourself. You've got more Shabad with you. Imagine who you're going to be and put a little smile on your face. If it doesn't excite you, it should. Have a little thought of how you're going to feel 180 days from now. You're making moves. Guru Pyari Sad Sangat Ji. And with all of that, you're very careful with your words. Because you've learned that you've become a weapon. And you've learned that just because you've become a weapon means that you should be very careful about how you speak and what you say. How amazing is it going to feel when you are capable of saying such violent things and backing it up? How amazing is it going to feel to know you are capable of saying and doing such violent things to your critics, to those that would seek to undermine the progress of the younger brothers and sisters in this darbar. But because you've got that power, you don't feel powerless. And when you've got the power, you just say, Hanji, and you walk away. You walk into the shop and you wait for that place to pass. Sad Sangat Ji, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to share with you that if I'm lucky to come maybe in a few months' time, I'll come to see you guys. I want to hear about your progress. We're so keen to share our problems. Don't get me wrong, we should share our problems. If we don't share our problems, to whom should we look to share our problems with? But we don't often hear about our progresses. Let's not covet those so tight. I want to hear about who's fighting. I want to hear about who's rolling. I want to hear about who's lifting. I want to hear about it because I'm your brother, and we should celebrate those successes. If we're not going to celebrate them from a place of careful, humble progress together, then who are we reserving the right to celebrate these with? I want to hear about the Japji Sab Katha that you guys are listening to. I want to hear about the progresses we make, because there should be that small amount of self-respect that we have, that we're going to make progress. If we're not sharing that because we're not making progress, let's have a little look, have a bit of courage to commit to making progress. Everybody say Shakti. Say Sarab Lo. Sarab Lo. Sarab Lo. WhyGuru. 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 So you're the Sangat of Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, the greatest example of military strategy, that one that would teach us that even in amongst a completely oppressive regime, that if you hold soldiers with you, no one will attack you. That one that would teach us the meaning of a peaceful life means to train for war. Sad Sangat Ji, let's have a little think about the practice we're going to implement in our days, and I'm looking forward to sharing what those are next time I have a chance to come and see with you guys. So we've got a few minutes for questions. Don't leave me hanging here. Yeah, I've come all the way from East London, the better part of town. Has anybody got any questions about Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj? Or am I going home now? Harandeep, you good? You training? How's it going? Good. So you're the Sangat of the Guru. Are there any questions? Go on, bro. Let's deal with the first step, right? So, good question, actually. I'm very glad you asked the question. Thank you. So, the question was, for those that didn't hear, what would you say to someone who's a bit anxious, maybe for assumptions about their own jivan, their own personality? Maybe they've been treated in such a way they haven't got any self-respect. They don't feel that they can go to a place like that and hold their own. There's three things I would say. Number one, if you're already anxious, imagine living the whole of your life anxious. It's harsh, man. We're not here to live that way. I don't believe as sons of the Guru, as daughters of the Guru, we were mandated to live every one of our days with anxiety. I don't believe it, man. And any therapist that you go and see and pats you on the back and says, you've got a right to feel this way, tell them to shut up and walk out. We should be looking to fix ourselves. We've got too much of this nonsense therapy keeping us in therapy. It's nonsense. Let's fix ourselves. Let's have at least a thought in our mind, I want to get better. Yeah, we've got so many people that are so willing to just stay in anxiety. And the way I'd put it to you is this. If you're anxious or insecure about making a move to a place like that, have the courage to sit in that place and do it anyway, man. Just do it, man. We're so comfortable telling each other that, Durande, you're perfect just the way you are. No, you're not. If you're perfect just the way you are, what you're saying to yourself is, I need to make no more progress. All this nonsense we feed our children, I love you just the way you are. It's nonsense. Are you telling me you want that child to make no progress? It sounds so nice because it's a cliche we hear. I love you. You're perfect just the way you are. Yeah. As he comes home getting bullied, yeah, from school. We're not perfect just where we are. If we were perfect, we wouldn't need a dharamsal to come to obtain perfection. We're not perfect, and that's okay. Sit comfortable with the fact that you're anxious. The reason you're anxious, if I'm very honest, is probably because you're far from perfection, further than you should be. And that's okay. So am I. You know, let's have a little bit of honesty. We're so busy seeking someone to validate our experience, yeah? You got women now on the fronts of magazines that are obese, yeah? And this is called body positive. It's nonsense. You're diabetic, you're overweight, you have high cholesterol, and you're ill. Like, there's nothing positive about that. And we're telling people that this is right. It's nonsense. Wake up. Yeah? Because this culture is feeding into that apathy. They want you on anxiety. Because as long as you're anxious, you'll take you over your Gurban at the Statue of Liberty. You won't stand up with a bit of man and say, this is who I am. Anxiety breeds compliance, subservience, and slavery. Yeah? People of man that stand up and say, who are you? I am my man. I am who I am. And isn't that what we would want for our young, if that's what we would want for our children and our younger brothers and sisters, we have an obligation to foster that within ourselves. So if you're feeling anxious about doing something that brings about progress, not just martial arts, be it fitness, going to a Santia class, coming to the Guru Card and learning Punjabi, here's a little bit of medicine, do it anyway, man. I ain't got anything better for you. I'm not going to pamper about the bush and tell you that you should just be okay and you're just the way. If you were perfect the way you were, you wouldn't feel anxious. Perfect people have no anxiety. Not that there's any such thing as a perfect person, but the symbolism is this. Anxiety means there's something short wherever you are. You'll know when you're in the company of perfection, when you're in the company of Gyani Hari Singh Ji, Gyani Kalwan Singh Ji, or as close to that, my sister Bibi Gurpreet Banji. So people like this that have fostered the energy to face insecurity. I'll tell you personally that if you have the ability, by the Guru's Bakshish, by the Sangat Sisa, if you have the ability to face your fear, those fears, I promise you from my own experience, as we stand before the Guru, those fears that are bearing down upon you, if you face them and you go out and you indulge an experience that will take you closer to the Guru, those same fears will come do matha tek to you. Bhai Bajitra Singh Ji faced a jang hathi with 7 plates of iron strapped to his face and a safe 7 foot long. Intoxicated with drugs and alcohol, is black and terrifying and terrible. And it was sent towards that great Shaheed, the younger brother of Bhai Uday Singh Ji, Bhai Bajitra Singh Ji, who had a Nagani Barsha bestowed upon them by Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And that Nagani Barsha was in the hand of Bhai Bajitra Singh Ji, and as that elephant came towards him, that black elephant of martial arts, of challenging yourself, going outside your comfort zone. As that black elephant would have come towards Bhai Bajitra Singh Ji, they didn't see fear, they saw opportunity. And they drove that Nagani Barsha through 7 plates of steel into the face, into all the Narya of that Jang Hathi. And that Jang Hathi would go up onto his hind legs and fall at the feet of Bhai Bajitra Singh Ji. And the way Kavi Sandok Singh Ji describes it, is that demon did matha tek to Bhai Bajitra Singh Ji. If you have the courage to face your fears, which you ain't going to hear people don't talk about this. They'd rather tell you you're fine, it's okay, you're scared, come over here. Trust me, man, all they're doing is keeping you in your fear. No one can wrap you in cotton wool long enough that you should go your whole life without fear. And if they did, what of it? Wouldn't you want to experience a bit of being alive? One of the most scared times of my life was getting in the ring. Only a couple of years ago. People on Insta, I go on Insta, they put my videos on Insta. They go, WhyGuru, that was nice. Some guy writes, what's wrong with your nose? It's all broken, yeah? But I like it. For me, it's part of my journey, yeah? And one of the scariest times was getting in the ring. I'll tell you one thing, it was scary getting in the ring. Yeah, because everyone's looking at you. Am I going to get smashed up? Are they going to start screaming Paki at me? There's all white people in the ring around there. Am I going to get abused? Is it going to people start throwing bottles? I held my own. I'll tell you honestly, I share this with you, like genuinely from my heart. When the fight finished, it was probably one of the most blissful experiences of my life. Beyond fear, if you face your fear, you'll find bliss just on the other side of fear. Who's ever experienced bliss? If we haven't experienced bliss, it's because we haven't faced our fears. Why should something so blissful be so cheap? Satsangaji, whatever your fear is, and I'm dealing with my own, don't think for a second I haven't got my own. If I told you some of my fears, some of you would laugh at them, yeah? Because they're my fears and they're subjective, right? They say you can drown in an unlimitedly deep ocean. You can drown in 2 foot of water, meaning everyone's got their own drowning point, right? I've got things I'm scared of. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's not the problem about having fear or not. It's about having a chance to look at that and go, I'm going to have a go anyway. And that's the point of Sangat for me. Sangat for me is like an hydraulic, it's like an elastic band. It's going to propel you forward. Like right now, in the company of the Sangat, everybody feels right now. Put your hands up if you genuinely feel like you could do anything right now. Like you could do whatever it is. Put your hand up. No elbows, Banji, come on. I told you, unless you're doing a Thai elbow, yeah? Like right now, the Shakti of the Sangat is such, this is the point. We come here not to sit in the Sangat, we come here to take the Sangat. We come here to take the Sangat. What I mean by that, the energy of the Sangat, take it, enrapture yourself with it, leave this place and come back anew. Say, yeah, I made some moves. Share that with your little sister and let's do it. I'm deeply, deeply passionate about what I'm about to say now. Let it not be the case that you have a nice experience here and you go home and you remain in that place. I want to hear about whatever it is, whether it's Rag, and this is not just about 2,200 soldiers, it's about 2,200 unfulfilled dreams. Yeah, whether it's Rag, Kirtan, Santya, Amrita. Imagine you guys are lining up at the Amrit Sanchar next month. Jo Tamina, yeah, Vaisakhi Dihara is coming up, man. Yeah, who's got the stones to step up, man? We need to make progress. If we're still where we were, exactly where we were a couple of years ago, we're not making progress. We've got to have a little bit of honesty and go, look, I've got to make some moves, man. It's about time. We've got young families here. I'm going to leave you with this. There's a son walking a treacherous path. And he looks to his father, who's just in front of him. He goes, son, listen, be careful where you walk. There's lots of potholes in this path, but don't do your ankles. Yeah. The son says to the father, the child says to the mother or the father, the father says to the child, be careful where you walk. This path is very treacherous. There's lots of holes. You can fall off the wayside. And the son says to the father, be you careful where you walk. I'm only walking where you step. Hana? So the Chinese have this custom that if you don't defeat your fears, your children inherit those fears. And there's a whole history about that, a spiritual history of Bruce Lee, which you can probably go into, you can look at. So going back to the point, probably not what you want to hear. You want to hear a miracle, wizardry answer, some potion. If you've got fear, you've got anxiety about doing something, do it anyway. Have a look at that and sit in the courage of it and just understand that if you do that, the reward will be bliss. And who doesn't want to feel bliss? In the company of progress, that you're making some moves. So Satsangaji, just a quick recap. We've learned today about the importance of being tiyar. And that doesn't just mean being tiyar in a battle sense, it means having gurbani kant, being armed with knowledge, that when someone steps to you and tells you to convert to Islam or to give up your dharam or whatever it might be, you've got the answers. We've learned also that with that knowledge isn't a weapon to be horrible and mean, that in the company of the Sangat, we should keep our jola tight. We should keep our words under control. We should speak sweetly. And then finally, we spoke about progress. That ultimately, all of this is just theory, unless we go past the comfort zone of just sitting where we are and suffering. Let it be the case that when you watch this on YouTube or when you come to reflect with your friends in 3 months' time, or when I get to see you next, you get to go, yo, I made some progress. I feel good. And that's all I really want from the Sangat, right? That we're making progress. That when we leave this world, everybody around has made some progress, right? So you're the Sangat of the Guru. I've been given an ashara 2 minutes. So that's now passed. If I've made any mistakes, you're the Sangat of the Guru. Oh, brilliant, fantastic. So I've got some very, very powerful announcements to make now. Beast Academy, which is a name that I've heard a few times, so you should have heard it too, which is on Norwood Green Road, so it's not very far from here. Thursdays, 7 to 8 p.m. It's fitting you're learning about this on Mother's Day. There's women's self-defense classes. Don't think about it as self-defense, think about it as progress. Progress. Everybody say progress. Or say Shakti. Shakti. Because you've got your mind association with self-defense. And you've already made up your mind about that when you went and just bought a bunch of cookies. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to redefine this. Don't think about it as self-defense. Think about progress. Say progress. Shakti. Bhagoti. Sarab lo. Sarab lo. So we're done. So Sad Sangat Ji, that was the announcement I wanted to make. You're the Sangat of the Guru. If we've made any mistakes, I ask for your forgiveness. Tan Tan Sahib Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj, may you bless us all and give us your company as we walk through our days. We lekhe katana shutiya kin pulan hara, baksan hara baksale nanak, pare utar. WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki fateh, bole so nihal.